What is everybody? Daniel Rock08 back here on a video. 1998 year in review continues with WWF's Over the Edge. The Monday Night Wars at its apex. Now both shows are doing those mid fours, those high fours, and by the end of the year they would get those fives. Now, at the beginning of the Monday Night Wars, they would just trade victories with their high twos and their mid threes. But by the time Nitro started kicking ass, they started really kicking their asses, and they would get those mid fours. Now, here in the mist at the end of the spring of 1998, now both shows are getting those mid fours. As a matter of fact, May 25th, both shows, both Nitro and Raw, did a 4.2. They both did. That's about 10 million people watching Raw and Nitro combined. They both tied, which is insane. Insane. The Monday Night Wars would just build on and build on. By the time we get to the summer of 1998, it's crazy. By the time the end of 1998, it's even crazier. And by the time 1999 rolls around, soon enough, Raw proves that they are most certainly the best show around. But it's very, very neck and neck, and both companies are just at their apex, pretty much. Both companies are at their apex. Whereas in '96, yeah, WCW was whipping ass. In 2000, WWF was whipping ass. Right around here, both companies are neck and neck. Plus, you have ECW, and everything is just fucking awesome. 1998 is such a good year. And Over the Edge has a very crazy build for it, of course. On an episode of Raw in the midst of this build-up, Dude Love denounces his gimmick and is Mick Foley for about 2 weeks. And he has to face Terry Funk. And Vince McMahon gives him this nice pep talk, and it's very nice. And these two guys, Mick Foley and Terry Funk, they have a fucking awesome bloody-ass brawl. And it's a very fun match. I say, check it out. It's a very fucking awesome match. You'll have this whole Nation and D-Generation X feud going on, but the main event scene at Over the Edge is what this show is all about. Everything else is just kind of there. Not a whole lot to talk about, but the main event is fucking nuts. It's fucking nuts. Vince McMahon is the special referee. Pat Patterson is the special announcer. And Gerald Briscoe is the special timekeeper. With Dude Love as Steve Austin's opponent, he has a mighty hill to climb, as Steve Austin so does, to retain his WWF Championship. This is a crazy main event, so let's just go right into it. Over the Edge, 1998. LOD 2000 defeats Disciple of Apocalypse. Bad match, 3 out of 10. Moving on. Jeff Jarrett defeats Steve Blackman. Not much better of a match. Fuck Jeff Jarrett. He broke 1,000 guitars, never drew a dime. Steve Blackman, very underrated. 5 out of 10. Mark Mero challenges Sable, and in the weeks leading up to this show, Sable says, give me 2 weeks worth of training, and I'll challenge you, and I'll whip your ass, and you'll feel the Sable bomb. And she actually does power bomb Mark Mero, and it's actually pretty fucking impressive. On this show, however, Mark Mero says, you don't have to face me. You can have a replacement, and you can have someone face me if you want. And then there's speculation because Undertaker shows up, and Undertaker's not on the card. They think, oh, shit. Jim Ross says, maybe the Undertaker is going to show up and face Mark Mero for Sable. Yeah, I highly doubt the Undertaker is going to waste his time with Mark Mero. Mark Mero says he's sorry, and we used to be the hottest couple in the Federation. What happened to us? So he decides to lay down, only to swerve her and Schoolboy's package. That's the end of that. It lasts about 5 seconds, whatever. Kai and Tai defeats Taka Michinoku and Bradshaw. You think Bradshaw would stick out like a sore thumb, but no, this is actually a pretty fun match, actually. 6 out of 10, fun stuff. The Rock and Farooq. They have their match, and it's one of the worst matches I've fucking seen from The Rock. Usually The Rock's matches are very entertaining. Farouk's matches are very smash mouth. But this is not a very all-star match. As I keep saying, your brain gets smart, but your head gets dumb. Yeah, well. The whole booking process of this feud is kind of backwards. Farooq, early on in the show, he pile drives The Rock on a steel chair, which is stupid because Farooq is the challenger and The Rock is the Intercontinental Champion. Why would you pile drive the champion, costing yourself your match against him? But then they later say that The Rock cannot compete tonight. If The Rock cannot wrestle tonight, he has to vacate his title, which is weird. He's the heel. Why would the heel do that? Why would they? I mean, it's stupid. We see, unless he's faking it, but we see Farooq pile driving The Rock. So it's backwards. The Rock tries to get counted out, but that doesn't work either. If he gets counted out, he has to forfeit the title. He is the heel. This is really stupid right now, actually. Anyways, The Rock cheats to The Rock, gets his feet on the ropes and cheats Farooq out of the match. Afterwards, Farooq, the spoiled loser he is, I guess he's supposed to be the babyface, yet he pile drives The Rock twice again. And then the Nation comes out, DX comes out, and there you go. 3 out of 10, bad match. Bad match. Everything's backwards about this shit. Next up, Kane defeats Vader in a obvious match. And I say it's obvious because this is a mask versus mask match. And yeah, Vader is going to win a mask versus mask match. Yeah, right. Okay. This is a very disappointing match, actually. Their match from No Way Out of Texas was actually a good match. His match is nothing like their match from No Way Out of Texas. This is fairly boring, but Kane does get an impressive tombstone pile drive for the win. Afterwards, Paul Bearer rips off the mask, puts it on himself, and says, "It's Paul Bearer time, Paul Bearer time." And the weeks leading up to Over the Edge, he says that Kane is his son, and Paul Bearer also says that Undertaker's mother is a slut, which is fucking funny as shit. I don't know why they make such a big deal out of Vader unmasking. I mean, sometimes Vader would take his mask off in the midst of a match, mid-match. Sometimes he wouldn't even wrestle with the mask on at all. So, I don't know why they're making such a big deal. But what does piss me off, 4 out of 10 by the way, is Vader. Michael Cole interviews Vader after the match, and this is infamous. This is the other reason why Over the Edge 98 is infamous. Vader says, Vader, time is over. Look at me. I'm just a big fat piece of shit. A big fat piece of shit. And he fucking just goes crazy, just like I just did there. And that's what he does, basically. He's a big fat piece of shit. And then Vader loses to Bradshaw in some random fucking match. And it's fucking... Vader. He really missed the boat on Vader. I'm not sure why he didn't go back to WCW or Japan, but anyways, Vader and WWF, that's basically the end of Vader. He does face Bradshaw, as I said, but yeah. 4 out of 10. Vader takes his mask off, says, I'm a big fat piece of shit. A big fat piece of shit. You know how crap that is? You know how fucking demeaning that is? That's like if Braun Strowman went out there and say, look at me, I'm just a big fat piece of shit. How bad can you hurt somebody? You want to publicly humiliate somebody on TV, Vince, why don't you just fucking urinate all over him? I mean, you might as well. You might as well urinate all over Vader. I'm a big fat piece of shit. Anyways, Mad Dog and the Crusher. Yeah, that's right. Mad Dog and the Crusher come out. They are rewarded, and they are embraced by the Milwaukee crowd, by the way. They're in Milwaukee. Pretty big wrestling city, which should host a WrestleMania. So, Milwaukee, they are embraced by Mad Dog and the Crusher. Jerry Lawler comes down, and this is kind of sickening. These guys are very old. And Mad Dog can't even walk because he has a prosthetic leg. And Lawler uses it. He can't even stand. Mad Dog can't even stand. He has to hold himself up with the ropes. And he can't even stand. Crusher gets a big ovation somehow, which is freaking crazy. 1998, Crusher's getting a pretty big ovation by Milwaukee here. And Lawler, nasty. I don't want to talk about it. Ear intervenes. Crusher hits Lawler with the prosthetic leg of Mad Dog. Yuck. Nation defeats D-Generation X in a 6-man tag. It's Owen Hart, who, by the way, turned on Ken Shamrock and joined the Nation of Domination the weeks leading up. He did that April 27th of Raw. D-Generation X. Now, they're doing this whole war with WCW wrestling, and they show up in the Norfolk Scope, and they try to get in. They even show up at the headquarters and WCW's headquarters and so on and so forth. And Owen Hart's with the Nation. So with the Nation, it's Owen Hart, Kama Mustafa, and D'Lo Brown. They take on D-Generation X's Triple H, Road Dogg, and Billy Gunn. This is a fine match, 6 out of 10. Owen Hart gets the victory. Good stuff here. No complaints, 6 out of 10. Fun match. And then the main event, as crazy as Attitude Era at its peak is, this is a fucking awesome match. A fucking awesome match. Sometimes brawling and sometimes craziness in the Attitude Era can actually be pretty redundant, can be overbooked, can be incredibly dumb, honestly. I'm sorry to say that. And it can be very much overrated. The craziness can just get out of hand and just be stupid. But this match is not like those matches. This match is fucking awesome. This is craziness done right. This is shenanigans done right. This is all kinds of bullshittery done right. First of all, Pat Patterson says this is a no holds barred match. This is a false count anywhere match. No disqualification, so on and so forth. Pat Patterson announces this as it goes on because Dude Love is trying to pin Steve Austin on the outside, and they say it's a false count anywhere match. And Dude Love hits Steve Austin. It's a no disqualification match. Forget about it. Hey, forget about it. So they battle on cars. They battle at the stage area. They battle all over the place. Undertaker comes on down. All kinds of bullshit goes on. Okay. So Pat Patterson pulls up. So I'm trying to talk here. God. Patterson tries to interfere. Undertaker chokeslams him through a table. Briscoe tries to interfere. Undertaker chokeslams him through a fucking table. Vince McMahon gets chair shot for his troubles because Dude Love ducked out of the way. Stone Cold Stunner. Now, as I said, Vince McMahon says before the match in an interview, he says, by my hand and by my hand alone can this match end. Vince McMahon is down and out. Steve Austin just hit the stunner. Briscoe and Patterson just got chokeslammed straight through hell by The Undertaker. Stone Cold Steve Austin sees a down Vince McMahon. And just like I said before, by my hand and my hand alone can this match end. Steve Austin grabs a down Vince McMahon's hand and slaps it 3 times on the mat. Stone Cold Steve Austin wins this match because, as I said, by his hand and his hand alone can this match end. And Vince McMahon's hand hit the mat 3 times, and Stone Cold Steve Austin retains the title and defeats Dude Love. And there's this confrontation between Steve Austin and Undertaker, and it's fucking awesome. 9.5 out of 10. This is a fucking awesome, fun match. A fun main event. A spectacular main event. And over the edge, it saves it from being a pretty terrible show, honestly. Overall, Over the Edge is a 5.2 out of 10. It's a pretty disappointing show, honestly. As I said, Nation DX was good. Taka, Bradshaw, and Kaientai was surprisingly good. And the main event was fucking nuts. Rock and Farooq was backwards. LD 2000, blad. And Memphis Midcard still can't draw a fucking dime because he also sticks out like a sore thumb. But the lowest of low on this show is, I'm just a big fat piece of shit. I'm just a big fat piece of shit. Anyways, 5.2. And I'll catch you next time when I talk about WCW's The Great American Bash. And for the WWF, it will be the King of the Ring when I talk about my most favorite match of all time in the Hell in a Cell between Undertaker and Mankind. Oh, baby, right here in 1998, Year in Review with me, Danny Rock 08.